Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to Ayna, the mirror to the world. We're in another fascinating country this week. It used to be an Iron Curtain country, and it gained its independence in 1989. It was separated into two countries in 1993. Its area is 30,450 square miles, its population is 10 million, and its capital is Prague. Ayna is in the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic is located to the southeast of Germany and the southwest of Poland. Although we were familiar with the name, much was unknown to us about this country. It comprises Bohemia, Moravia, and the Silesia regions. This is where the term for Bohemian lifestyle was born. This country became a member of NATO in 1999. They joined the European Union in 2004. The European Union flag has been raised next to the Czech flag since then. This country doesn't have a coastline, it's landlocked. And it's one of the most important junctions in Europe. It has a very strategic location, making it a very versatile country culture-wise. Of the old Eastern Bloc countries, it's one of the most stable and wealthiest countries in Central and Eastern Europe. Approximately 30% of the population is Christian. The remaining 70% does not have a defined religion. The Czechs are known for their warm and gracious welcomes to visitors. The Bohemian lifestyle enticed many famous literary figures. For instance, Nazim Hikmet stayed in Prague during his exile and wrote a couple of his poems here. The Czech Republic is a tourist-friendly country in every sense. Karlova Bridge is the most famous bridge of Prague. I can't believe I'm hearing my favorite song in Prague. Prague is the fourth most visited city in Europe following London, Paris, and Rome. We went up the most famous clock tower in the city. It's the largest horseman statue in the world. Prague, the historic look of this city is simply gorgeous. The mirror to the world, Ayna is in the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic is a tourist-friendly country in every sense. The streets are crammed with visitors from all over. The capital of Czech Republic, Prague, is the fourth most visited city in Europe following London, Paris, and Rome. So who are the neighbors of the country? Well, they're Austria, Germany, Poland, and Slovakia. What you'll notice mostly here is an ethnic blending of a lot of these countries. Unfortunately, as in the case of some other European countries, the population of this country is declining. The Czechs are an industrial society. The word robot was invented by Joseph Capek, and it was Pavel Robot who invented the robot here in 1920. The word was derived from robota, which means drudgery or hard work in Czech. The Czechs started producing their own car brands in 1907. Did you know that there used to be a single word in Turkish meaning, "Are you one of those whom we couldn't turn into a Czechoslovakian?" And it was known to be the longest word in the language. However, today there's no such word because technically there's not a country called Czechoslovakia. When Czech Republic and Slovakia were separated in 1993, that longest word became invalid. When Czechoslovakia was divided, Czech Republic and Slovakia had to find a way to differentiate their currencies. Slovakia came up with a solution. They placed stamps on their share of the bills to mark them as their currency, and Czechoslovakian money was then modified into Slovakian currency. Until the new bills were printed, Slovakia had to use this money. Now we've seen a variety of money from around the world, but it's the first time we've seen money with a stamp on it. The highway to Vienna, Austria and Berlin, Germany crosses in the middle of Prague. Moreover, it crosses an important square, Václavský Square. These vehicles are headed towards Vienna. Now, unfortunately, this highway is in a bit of disrepair. It can't hold the transit traffic and the city traffic. That's why Czech authorities are trying to build a beltway around the whole city. During the Soviet rule, they built the highway through the city in order to support the businesses. They call this city the Golden City. The Czechs call it Praha. Praha in Czech language means threshold, referring to the threshold of Europe. This threshold's population is about 1.5 million people. And folks, let me be the first to tell you, the historic look of this city is simply gorgeous. Prague Television Tower is the highest point where we can take in a bird's-eye view of the entire city. 709 feet above the ground, we can understand the layout of the capital city easily. Around the historical buildings in the city center stand the drab, plain Soviet-era buildings. Beyond those are today's modern structures. It's said that Prague is one of the most fascinating cities in the world. You can see the lush parks and the Vltava River flowing down there. Across the river lie some of the city's buildings. The city has towers, historical buildings, and churches. And we can see that a number of bridges were built over the Vltava River. Václavský Square has witnessed important events in the Czechs' rich history. The first rebellion against the Soviet rule during Dubček's time started here in 1968. almost 1.5 million people gathered in this square. The revolution was known as the Prague Uprising. Some took their own lives in the name of freedom. But the riot was soon quelled by the Soviet army. This square witnessed a similar crowd at the Velvet Revolution in 1989. There's a path called Silver Line in Prague. Silver Line is generally preferred by the tourists as a walking tour. It gives them a chance to get to know the city better during an enjoyable walk. Now, you can see the path starts from this National Museum and goes up to the castle. It takes about 3 to 4 hours to complete at a normal walking speed. While following this path, you get to see and enjoy Prague. It's like walking in a huge outdoor museum. We, the adventurous Ayna crew, started our walk on this path as well. As seasoned travelers would say, the best way to get to know a city is to get lost on its roads. Well, we took up this advice and started walking around in Prague, and the streets became our adventure. Walking paths are covered with cobblestones. It was the first country Hitler captured during World War II. Since he did not meet any resistance, he spared the city from bombardment and took over the country easily. The ironsmith in the corner is securing the anvil. Iron softens under heat, and the hammer takes over to continue manufacturing souvenirs with great care. Staromiecka Namiesti means Old Town Square in Czech language. This square attracts the most tourists in the city. It's famous with its clock tower. Cafes, restaurants, historical buildings, and churches make this hotspot a destination that's a must when visiting. Old Town Square was the first square that a bazaar was set up in Central Europe. The first bazaar was opened over 1,000 years ago in this square. Tourists crowd around the clock tower every hour before the bell goes off. Most of them do not exactly know what they will see. They just join a group of people who's waiting there to hear and see the magic that Prague is known for. To see the models of the apostles that pass by a small window that open at the beginning of the hour is to witness something special. All of the waiting in hot weather for several minutes is for a 20-second show, but well worth it. went up the most famous clock tower in the city. We're enjoying a bird's eye view of Prague. Prague is literally under our feet from this height, and the people in the streets look like ants. Because this is a really high tower, we're not alone. Lots of tourists are watching Prague's magnificence with us. If you want, you can get around the Old Town Square in a horse and carriage ride. The Bohemian crystals of Czechs are world-renowned, and we're in one of these crystal shops right now. Here are the crystals arranged on the shelves. They say these crystals include about 24% lead oxide. Now, these crystals are one of the major exports of the Czechs. According to the experts, they say that a crystal can be recognized from its sound. We'll do a small test here. There should be a ringing sound. Let's see if these will give out that sound. Do you hear that? As you can hear, there's a long ringing sound coming from the crystals. These crystals are high quality. Here, I'll put them down. Now, how much are they? This vase costs about 250 euros. Wow, that's a hefty price tag. Let's put it back so I don't end up shelling out this week's paycheck. Now this crystal plate costs about 70 euros. There's a good selection of crystals here. And you can buy any of them according to your needs and your budget. Now, there are a number of crystal shops like this in Prague, but none as fascinating or intriguing as this one. There are several gift shops everywhere in the city. We walked into one of the gift shops. This gift shop sells puppets. The shop owner came from Bulgaria. The economy is not very good in Bulgaria right now. Bad politics have ruined us, he says. Fortunately for him, Prague is a different story. A Bulgarian citizen earning his living in the Czech Republic. Afterwards, we found out that a number of foreigners earn their living in these shops. It is said that the Czechs make the most beautiful and best wooden toys in the world. As you can see, there are a great number of wooden toys in a variety of colors. These wooden toys rank high in attracting the tourists' attention. When returning to their home countries, they buy them and take them home as souvenirs. Now, actually, I'm interested in this bird. I would like to buy this one. Let's take a look at the price. I'll ask this lady. It costs 200 Czech koruna, which is the currency here. We just happen to have 200 Czech koruna right on us. Here you go.
Get this, please. And then I want to just look at it. Okay. Like this.
Well, lucky for me, I get to go home with this bird as my souvenir from the Czech Republic. We're now on one of the streets that lead to the Old Town Square. and Mr. Jurgi is here with us. Now we can see antique cars right here. This one was made in 1928, and this one was made in 1930. The tourists just love to take these classy chassis and take tours in these cars to the castle. Approximately, the tour takes about 40 minutes round trip. Mr. Jurgi charges 4 people 50 euros. That's great. It's popular with the tourists to ride in these historic cars. They experience the nostalgia of yesteryear. Now, I'm going to sit in this 1930 model car, as you can see. The steering wheel is on the right, and the gear shift is pretty interesting. The dials are naturally old style. Now, here are the brakes and the clutch pedal. Of course, the steering wheel does not have power steering, but what a thrill it must be to take one of these out for a spin. $17 million tourists visit this country of 10 million people. 8 million of these 17 million tourists just visit Prague. Karlova Bridge is the most famous bridge of Prague, and we are walking on this bridge right now. The Vltava River is flowing underneath the bridge. Until the year 1741, the only bridge over Vltava River was this Karlova Bridge, but a lot of bridges have been built up since then. Vltava divides Prague into 2, as you can see. There are ships, boats, ferries on the river, and people traveling on it as well. This bridge is 1,706 feet long and 33 feet wide. Karlova is closed to vehicle traffic. Especially in the late afternoon, the temperature cools down and people crowd the bridge. Street musicians show their skills, making the best of this opportunity. Vltava River is not blue, but rather a greenish-brown color. While you can't see to the bottom, it is a sight to behold. Most people don't seem to care about the color. There are cruises on the waterways, and people take these cruises and try to enjoy their time on such a beautiful river. There's also those who ride water bikes in addition to cruise boats. We've bumped into some street musicians on the bridge. Here's a gentleman with his instrument in front of him, and he is playing it just wonderfully. In this late afternoon, it caught our attention. This musician played a song I wanted to hear just when I asked him to. Let's listen to him now. He's terrific.
Yes, please.
I can't believe I'm hearing my favorite song in Prague. It's so much fun to hear this song on Karlova Bridge. And if you ever happen to come here, you can listen to this song or your favorite song from this gentleman. The Czechs are historically known for several composers from their country. Mozart has been the most popular composer in this country. He composed Don Giovanni right here. And he performed it here for the first time. That's why it's very common among Czech people to listen to classical music. The last destination tourists will reach at the end of the Silver Line is the castle. Vitus Cathedral in the castle is one of the largest cathedrals in the country. There's also the presidential palace in the castle as well. The Czechs are still using this official building. This place is crowded with many visitors as well. What attracts their attention most is the ceremony of changing of the presidential armed guard. It's a simple ceremony held every day, but it captures the attention of hundreds of tourists. Even the scorching heat cannot diminish their interest in this ceremony. This is the building where Franz Kafka, one of the leading literaries of the 20th century, lived. Kafka wrote his pieces in this little 377 square foot building. And this is the street he lived on. The buildings within the castle, which were residential areas before, are being used for business purposes now. Kafka's house is now a cafe. Kafka's fans take pictures on the street of his house.
Dítě čekané porodili a všechen lid s nimi nic nechtěl mít. Všichni jim říkali, sněste si, co jste si smíchali.
We're now in front of the statue of Jan Žižka, one of the Czech kings, and this statue holds the record. It's the largest horseman statue in the world, and it was erected in 1941 by a sculptor called Kafka. The statue standing in the Old Town Square is the statue of Jan Hus. This gentleman was the founder of the first Protestant movement. Jan Hus was the president of Karlova University. This president, who lived almost 100 years before Martin Luther, had quite a following amongst the Czechs. He had statues in the churches removed. However, he was soon excommunicated and then attacked by a group of soldiers. He and his followers were burned. And here, his statue stands at the busiest corner of the city. Czech Republic is a very green and lush country. We're in one of the parks in the capital. There are dozens of parks like this in Prague, and they are huge. People frequent these parks in order to refresh, relax, and rest. People are rollerblading, playing street hockey, riding bicycles, skateboarding, wandering with their children, playing softball. There's just lots of fun stuff to do in these parks. And quite a many people are walking their dogs as well. Rollerbladers who were trying some tricks put on a great show for us when they saw the camera following them. The weather can be a mixed bag in the Czech Republic. From warm, humid days in the summer to frigid winters, be prepared to bring a variety of clothing when visiting here. Spring is perhaps the best time to come. In addition, there will not be as many tourists in the spring, unlike the summer months. Well, sadly, we have to bid farewell from the colorful and historic downtown area of Prague. Don't forget to visit our website at www.ebru.tv or email us and tell us what you think of our show at ayna@ebru.tv. On behalf of the whole Ayna crew, thanks for watching. See you next week. So long.